Hey, it's Huck. And, I apologize. I had meant to actually post this a little bit sooner. But, one day, my friend Dustin and I went up to Presque Isle. Here's a quick view of that beautiful state park. I took some time this week to, learn a new dance. It needs some work. At any rate, I wanted to talk to you today on a more serious topic, and that is, this whole Donald Trump chaos. And, I'm going to apologize again because, for the last year and a half or so, going on 2 years, I really don't feel like I have been, doing my job here. It used to be that I would post videos, a lot more frequently on political topics. And, part of it is certainly my health has gotten in the way. But part of it too has been just the daily barrage of nonsense and chaos and just destruction of our democracy going on in Washington. And a lot of it is on Donald Trump, but a lot of it is not. A lot of it is the checks and balances that this republic was founded upon, has not lived up to, its obligation. And for the most part, the Republican Party, Mitch McConnell and Paul Ryan are ostensibly the most responsible for that situation. And so, I have said all along that, try to get beyond, all of the talking points and a lot of the, the flashpoints, the Twitter attacks and the, and all of the words and everything that emanates out of that. And try to stay focused on what really is important, policy. And when you get right down to it, the scariest thing about Donald Trump and this current situation that we find ourselves in is policy. I just saw a report today, it should be of no surprise to anyone, that on top of everything else that Trump and the Republican Party, which is in power right now, has done to hurt the average Joe. It was just announced today that the death toll in Puerto Rico after that terrible hurricane last summer has actually been found to be 20 times higher than that which was officially posted by the federal government. 20 times higher. Healthcare has always been, I think, really close to my heart. Long before I had before my chronic illness actually started affecting my life, I saw it working on my parents, and particularly, in the case of my mom. And now, of course, we've got Republicans in power, and they're all about, empowering the richest Americans, the top 1% or even above, and rewarding them with tax breaks, as they've done with this tax bill that they passed last year, at the expense of cutting more and more services to people in our society who are most vulnerable, by raising the cost of housing for our poor, as Ben Carson did at Huck, by cutting benefits to the VA, which was already, undermanned and understaffed, and having a problem, obviously, in addressing the need there. In so many ways, now, of course, that Republicans are, got the full reins of power. They're trying to make good on their long-promised cuts to Medicaid, Medicare, and Social Security. While they give really one of the largest tax breaks ever to the wealthiest folks who really didn't need it. So, like I say, we look at some of the hatred that drives the Trump administration. Not just Trump, but this neo-Nazi white supremacist aide of his, Steve Miller. These are the people that are driving policy here. Now they're going after legal residents in this legal immigration residents and trying to find ways to deport them. The hatred that drives the Trump administration, particularly when it comes to minorities and immigrants, is really just unfathomable. And so we've just had another special election here. So yesterday was a big election here in Ohio and in a few other places. I know there was an election in Missouri, Kansas for governor, but in Ohio, in the 12th district, which is an area just north, basically kind of semicircle around Columbus, Ohio. Not the city of Columbus itself, but some of the suburbs just north of Columbus. I just went last weekend. I drove down to that very area in a little town called Plain City, Columbus. My best friend in high school, a few years after high school, got a job at a medical lab down there, and has been down there ever since. So this is the first time I have seen my friend Larry in 35 years. 35 years. So finally looked him up, saw him down there, and like I said, took the trip down there last Sunday. At any rate, that area is about the only, where he lives, is about the only Democratic stronghold in this whole District 12. District 12 years ago was a district that John Kasich, now governor of Ohio, was reelected to. I think was elected from that district, or thereabout that district, 9 times. It's always been, solidly Republican, because just outside of those suburbs are all these very rural kind of farm country counties. And I know in the last election in 2016, I think Trump won that by, 12 or 16 points or something. But prior to that, it has gone pretty routinely by as many as 30 points for either statewide or or presidential Republican candidates in the past. And so all eyes were kind of on that district yesterday to see, what this Trump effect is, and whether or not there really is a blue wave at work. And by all accounts here now, a day later, that race is officially too close to call, but it looks like the Republican has kind of is holding on to about a 700 or 800 vote lead, more or less. And apparently that's probably going to be within the half a percentage point required to do a recount. Now, a lot of people, either way, however this thing ends up working out, these two are going to go head-to-head again in November. This was a special election to fill the seat held previously by a guy by the name of Tiberi, a Republican who decided to vacate his office and make the big bucks as a lobbyist, apparently. But at any rate, what this tells me, the way I kind of read these tea leaves, is that, the Democratic base is certainly more motivated, and they're getting probably a larger percentage of Democrats out to vote than they are probably Republicans. Trump is going to motivate about 60 or 70% of Republicans to go out and vote. I have no doubt about that. The rest, I'm not so sure where he's going to get his votes. So it all is going to hinge this November on how well Democrats are motivated, and even more importantly, how well we are able to recruit new people maybe that haven't voted before. So I really do believe young people and women maybe that have voted Republican in the past and maybe are fed up with Trump. But for the most part, I think we need to get as many women registered and out to vote, and as many young people, first-time voters, out to vote as absolutely possible. And right now, it's looking like in the House, if I had to predict right now, I would say, that Democrats look like they're going to maybe win maybe 35 or 40 seats that they would change. Now that would be a big swing, and obviously that would put the House of Representatives in the hands of Democrats. It would not be a big enough swing, however, to give them a veto-proof majority. For that, they would need to take well over 50, even 60 House seats. I don't see that happening as of yet. They only need, I think, 23 or 24 seats. I think it's 24 seats to actually to win a majority and take over the House of Representatives leadership. And it's looking like they're likely to do that, surpass that. I'm looking for a bigger swing than that if possible. It's the Senate really that worries me, because I think we're not really there yet. And we need to get, we need to win about 3 or 4 seats there that are currently held by Republicans. And there's something like 21 seats currently up for grabs in the Senate, that majority of those are held by Democrats. And we're going to have our hands full just returning Democrats to some of those seats, whoever they might be. And so that's a real concern. I think it's a real uphill battle, and that's something we absolutely must do if we're going to completely stop and and I'll say, you know, oust this Trump administration from power. Our only hope is to win control of the Senate. Mitch McConnell, next to Trump himself, Mitch McConnell is probably the most dangerous man in America. He's probably done the most damage. That's my brief synopsis for today. And I've got to go back and work on my dance. So, you know, and I got to have my oxygen ready if I'm going to try doing that crap. But, you know, old Huck, he's been feeling good, so he always has to push the envelope. As I'm starting to feel a little bit better, you know, each day, hopefully I'll be able to churn out a little bit more of these videos here. Anyway, I thank you again for watching, and I'll see you again real soon.